Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to take a call in this debate this afternoon. Now, it's very interesting as we listen to the opposition speakers get up and saying what a bad day it's going to be tomorrow, Budget 2010, how horrific it's going to be for this country. But I can tell you this, 1 million people voted for this government and are waiting for this budget. 1 million people believe we are better economic managers than the previous government, the Labour government. And 1 million people believe this government can deliver a much brighter future for them, their parents, their grandchildren, their children. And actually 1 million people want to see their children come back to New Zealand because we offer globally competitive salaries, because we offer cutting-edge jobs, because we have cutting-edge industry, because this is a government that understands business and knows how to get that growth. In fact, this country was tricked, Mr. Speaker, for a very, very long time. It was tricked for 9 years in believing we were prosperous, believing that because we were in surpluses, we were doing well. But we weren't. This country was tricked. This country was held up by excessive government spending with very poor outcomes. This country was held up with the promise that we were doing better when in fact we weren't. And what were one of the key indicators which this country never heard about was our exports and the way they were trending down. For 5 years, the Labour government hid the fact that our exports were declining. And what can this country do without exports? Nothing. Nothing. We borrow and we get more and more in debt. So this country is backing businesses in New Zealand. This country is bringing back highly technical, recognised people from other fields to grow our economy. This government is backing the people of New Zealand and backing the business in New Zealand to make a difference. We're not going to hide it like the previous government did. We're not going to keep on spending and spending and spending because we don't have surpluses, because we have responsibility for taxpayers' money and how we spend every dollar. And we want to have good outcomes for when we spend that taxpayer dollar. Because we know when somebody pays their taxes, they have worked hard to earn that money. And we should give that money the respect that they give it in their own homes and spend it as wisely as they do. Not on pet projects and not on just not worrying whether it's going to produce any good for this country or not. So this government in the 2010 budget is going to send some very clear messages to New Zealand. It's going to send the clear messages to New Zealand that we want you to invest, that we want you to save, and that we are going to reward you for working hard. That's what this government is going to send the clear message. And this is what the previous government did not do. The previous government said it was fine to spend money. You earn it, you spend it. But what did we end up with? We ended up with a country that believed that they could actually go out, borrow money off their property increases and spend it. So we created in New Zealand a society that thought debt was okay. Debt was okay to spend money on a consumable, when in fact we all know it isn't. Debt is good if you're going to get an income off it, if it's going to create an asset, but not for consumables. So this government is sending a clear message to New Zealanders out there that we're going to reward you if you invest, if you save and if you work hard. In fact, we're going to do things along the way of constraint and saying we're looking after your money, we want you to look after your money as well, and we want you to invest wisely. And the government has already put a huge range of regulations in place to ensure that people can invest and feel safe in New Zealand. So this government has done a lot of pre-announcements for this budget, which is pretty new. We've pre-announced some R&D announcements. We're growing the economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Rodney Hine.